Hello, Osseo fifth grade teachers. My name is Peter Brenner with Amplify. Our time is short and we have a lot to cover, so I'm going to get right to the point. My goal here is to provide an introduction to Amplify Science, which includes information about the standards you'll see covered and the support you will receive when you choose to pilot Amplify Science next school year. First, what is Amplify Science? Amplify Science is the fastest growing K-5 core science resource in the country. We partner with schools and districts to deliver an engaging, rigorous, and three-dimensional science learning experience. We find that schools tend to adopt Amplify Science when they need an easy-to-use and manage science resource. 2, it's critical that their science resource utilizes a phenomena-based approach and embeds three-dimensional learning at every level, including every single lesson. 3rd, these districts recognize that not all students learn the same way, and not all students learn something the first time they are exposed to it. So they recognize the need for a science resource that incorporates a multimodal approach to instruction in order to reach and engage all learners. And finally, they are looking to support their literacy instruction with their science resource and instruction. In the next video segment, Tom Gantt, a former science teacher, will provide an overview of our Modeling Matter unit, where your students will take on the role of food scientist. 2 of the 5th grade physical science benchmarks this unit covers are 1.2.1.2, conduct an investigation to determine whether the mixing of 2 or more substances results in new substances, and 1.2.1.3, where students will evaluate appropriate methods and tools to identify materials based upon their properties prior to investigation. I'm going to let Tom go into more detail about the unit, but I did want to close with our awesome support for your pilot efforts. When you pilot a unit of Amplify Science, we provide you with the following customized training plan. We start with an initial training, which is normally 1 to 1.5 hours, where we review and plan for the pilot unit. Prior to the first day of instruction, we offer a pre-instruction training, which is a 45-minute session per grade level to review any topics based upon the teacher needs and feedback. Anywhere from 5 to 7 days after the first day of instruction, we offer another 45-minute session per grade level to cover any topics that the pilot teachers wish, but we also then review the assessment capabilities within Amplify Science. After about 12 or 14 days of instruction, we offer another 45-minute training per grade level, customized to the teacher's needs based on where they are in the unit, but we also will then review the upcoming activities within the unit. And then finally, shortly before the end of the unit, we offer another session to review the teacher's experience and answer any outstanding questions teachers may have. We appreciate the time you are taking to explore Amplify Science. I hope you find the remainder of this video productive, and we look forward to seeing you at the initial training for Amplify Science.
Thanks, Peter, for that excellent introduction. And now it's Tom here to dive deeper into the curriculum. And we're going to start by talking about phenomenon. Phenomena is anything that causes us to question or to want an explanation about something that's happened in nature. And students have these natural curiosities that we want to tap into. And so phenomena is an important driver in science education today. And this is a shift away from one-dimensional approach of teaching about Examples such as sound waves, sea turtles, or energy conversions. Now we have a three-dimensional approach where we can integrate a phenomenon, and it becomes much more meaningful for our students who always question us, why are we learning this? Well, now we have a purpose, such as sea turtles surviving in a place where sharks can meet them, or a town having frequent blackouts. So the shift to a three-dimensional integration allows for a lot of really amazing things to happen. One, we can hook those students to learn. With phenomenal hooks that are embedded in Amplify are role-playing. There's a challenge that's engaging. It's a high-interest storyline that becomes very personal to them as well. And so with every unit in Amplify Science, students go on a problem-based deep dive. And in that unit, they're going to be a STEM career scientist or engineer, and they're going to unlock this phenomenal real-world problem. It's an engaging storyline that's going to create scientists and engineers every day. So in the 5th grade Modeling Matter unit, students get to be food scientists as they work through some really cool phenomenon as they eventually create a salad dressing that may or may not have properties that separate and have sediments at the bottom. So why choose Amplify Science? Well, one, we are that phenomena-based approach where students are going to use 21st century tools and resources to solve these problems. Secondly, we are designed for the standards by the Lawrence Hall of Science, which I'll explain in a second. We have highly effective teacher planning and assessment tools. I like to say Amplify is so easy. It's a 3-step prep to get ready to teach effective science. And then finally, reading is so important in K-5. And so reading and literacy support is integrated, is an important part of the science program. Now let's dive a little deeper. So how are we built for three-dimensional learning? Well, the Lawrence Hall of Science, who's the authorship team that created Amplify, has been creating, LHS for short, has been creating quality curriculum for over 50 years. And they're really well known for development of curriculum that is research-based and has great outcomes. And Amplify was developed after the new standards were finalized, as opposed to some other programs out there that might be a retrofit and doesn't quite match up to the new demands of those standards. And so Amplify allows you to shift into this three-dimensional way. You do not need to be an expert in three-dimensional science standards. Just know that they're woven through every unit, chapter, and lesson. And I'm going to show you some evidence of this. So let's take the core ideas. The disciplinary core ideas are your earth, life, physical science concepts, and engineering as well. But then we have 8 action items called our science and engineering practices. These are things that we want students to be able to accomplish. Then we have cross-cutting concepts, things such as pattern, cause and effect, scale. These relate to whatever science we are teaching. And Amplify brings it all together in a great little package with an anchoring phenomenon. What you see here is a 3-dimensional statement from our teacher's guide, which color codes the practices, the disciplinary core ideas, and the cross-cutting concepts. So at the unit level, you can see students are introduced to the particular model of matter and how it applies to their role as food scientist. Everything in blue are those practices and those cross-cutting concepts in green. So at the unit level, you can see this integration. Now, if we go down to a lesson level 3-dimensional statement, you can see it's very clear. Students conduct an investigation of 3 possible texture ingredients for their salad dressing. And so they have to look for which one will create the most stable mixture. So these become very powerful I can statements, which many of our teachers utilize and make it a clear objective for student learning and outcomes. Now, let's go over the exceptional program components, the stuff that comes with Amplify Science. I'm going to let my alter ego, Teacher Tom, take over from this point on. Hello, Osseo Grade 5 teachers.
I am Tom the teacher, and I am super excited to show you all the amazing teacher tools and student resources that you'll be using to teach Amplify Science. This program makes teaching science very easy and practical for you, and it makes learning science and engaging fun for your students. With Amplify, your students will be going on a problem-based deep dive with each of the units and answering relevant questions to real-world phenomenal problems. In these 4 units, students will explore phenomena as astronomers, food scientists, water resource engineers, and ecologists. Planning is simple. Each unit has 22 lessons, so you'll have a total of 88 lessons to teach for the academic year. Now let's take a look at the teacher instructional materials that bring these units to life.
As an example, I'll be using the unit Modeling Matter, where students work as food scientists. All Amplify units have similar design and resources.
The design of Amplify units is very clear and easy to understand. The unit has several chapters, and each chapter has lessons, and every lesson has a series of activities.
As you see here, this lesson has 4 activities, starting with a teacher-led discussion, leading to gathering evidence and assimilation, and with hands-on modeling, and then concluding with student discourse.
You're going to love all the great Amplify teacher materials. You can plan your way with either the print or digital teacher's guide. I like using both. And making my science wall is easy with the great print resources, such as the unit and chapter questions and all the vocabulary cards. The materials are printed on heavy cardstock, and they are available in both Spanish and English. Talk about easy! Amplify provides teachers a quick prep time with classroom slides, engaging high-level PowerPoints for every single lesson that you can download and be ready to teach within minutes. The slides include visual cues, embedded images, videos, and so much more. As you see here, the notes of the slide include teacher actions, supporting dialogue, and even formative assessments. Speaking of assessments, Amplify provides a range of formative assessment types from pre-unit, chapter critical junctures, and on-the-fly quick checks. The critical juncture assessments will give teachers insight into student progress and provides differentiated guidance to ensure that all students can be successful. Each unit will end with a performance task and summative assessment. Resources make teaching in a 5E fashion super easy. The units and lessons are crafted to engage students right away with a video or an activity. It's all built around the phenomenal real-world problem. Students will then explore, explain, and elaborate to construct deeper meaning and understanding until they are able to be evaluated for true depth of knowledge, and with an application of what they've learned to a new scenario. Now, let's look at the student materials that make learning fun. Students will be writing and drawing in their very own investigation notebook, just like real scientists do. They will also be engaged in literacy strategies as they explore 5 to 6 unique titles with every unit. Students will love investigating with all the great hands-on materials that are included. Technology is gradually introduced and blended seamlessly into the lessons. As you see here, students can access all their books digitally in both English and Spanish. Students will be elaborating with modeling tools and sorting tools. This demonstrates their deeper visual understanding. Teachers can choose to use these tech tools in whole group, small group, or individualized instruction. Each of these amazing instructional components will serve a purpose to blend the science standards with high-quality teaching methods. Amplify Science will have students exploring hands-on activities from 30 to 40% of the time, so they can use these experiences to construct deeper meaning and ideas to solve the questions around the phenomenal storylines. All these great materials come in easy-to-use bins, so you will be using the resources that you see here. Some units come with the main materials bin, but also include extra boxes that contain any additional resources that you will need. This will save teachers time and money. Amplify kits are very generous and supply enough hands-on and print materials for a class of 36 students. But unlike other companies that supply limited materials where teachers end up with large student groups of 8 or 9, Amplify gives enough material for group sizes of 2 to 4 students, making their hands-on experiences that much more impactful. This also means enough materials for 72 uses and over 2 or more years worth of supplies. With all these great resources, you can watch your students have fun and show how they can inquire, model, quantify, read, talk, write, critique, and argue like real scientists.
Now, Real Tom is back, and I'm here to describe some additional resources that have been added to the program to help support teaching during the pandemic. Some of these resources that you will see will be very useful post-pandemic when students are in full classes in front of us. And so we have online resources for students who have access to technology, as well as offline for those who might not have as much access. One of the most exciting features for remote and hybrid learning is what's called our at-home videos. These are actual videos of teachers teaching Amplify Science. So you can have a guest teacher come into your classroom. It's great for remote learning, but also you could watch it to see a model of how a lesson could be delivered. You could flip your classroom and send those videos home. It's great for absent students as well as for substitute teachers. So these videos are very, very useful. In addition, we have these at-home print-based packets. So maybe a student has an IEP or you need to make modifications because they don't have a device that works. So here you can get a full set of lessons in a printable form that then can be delivered like a workbook, or you can do individual lessons. And it's definitely modified for remote instruction when you don't have time with a teacher. In addition, we have these great hands-on material kits, but what if students aren't able to do the hands-on because they're not in person? Well, we have awesome videos of students doing those investigations so they can still watch and gather evidence from what's happening with these videos. When the students are with you, these make a great way to show another way to do this, maybe model it, use these videos as a great resource for those hands-on experiments. In addition, we have what's called read aloud videos of all the books, all the text. I like to say these are more like a read to, because it's a real teacher reading to a student on a video playlist. So you can see the value in that and really addressing emerging readers in our K-5 program. All of this is located in our new redesigned program hub that includes those remote and hybrid learning resources organized by grade level. Also, we have professional learning built right into our platform, on-demand tutorials for teachers as well as students. And then we have additional unit materials. And this is that enrichment piece. If you want to go further into some STEAM or STEM projects or library research, we have suggestions for that with all of our units as well. Now I'm going to guide you to where those things are located in your digital accounts. Here I am in my demo account, and in your demo account, you can follow along just like I'm doing. Go to the upper land. I call these 3 stacks or my little hamburger. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to open up, and I need to scroll all the way down. Now, I have other curriculum loaded that Amplify does sell, like ELA and math, but I want to scroll all the way down past our science apps until you get to what's called additional resources. And under additional resources, here is that program hub. When you click on that, it will open a new tab, and I definitely explore those remote and hybrid learning resources that we have available. And also, I think it's worthwhile checking out the science program guide. The science program guide goes deep into every aspect of our program beyond everything that you're going to get in a short video. So if you're really interested in specific assets in the program, check out the science program guide as well. One thing I want to point out and reiterate is that you can access the books, the student books, in multiple formats. The first one being a hands-on print books that come right out of your material kits, so students can physically work with those. Also, students have digital accounts where they can flip through the flip book on the digital platform, as well as press play and have it audio read to them. But then keep in mind, we have those read to videos or read aloud videos where a teacher reads the text to the students. And also, anytime there is a literacy component that a teacher is responsible to deliver, we include images of the text in the PowerPoint and Google Slideshow. So you don't have to create that. It's already there. You can click through and it becomes a seamless part of the lesson delivery. We also created prior knowledge and prior experience routines to really tap into students' understanding and misconceptions and maybe clear those up along the course of a unit. So after you give a pre-unit assessment, students are going to then engage in what we think we know and our experience as anchor charts. These become a visual part of the classroom. At the beginning of each chapter, students are going to look back on those ideas and experiences to propose answers and make new predictions. At the end of the chapter, students are going to engage in discussions using these charts to identify areas that were accurate, misconceptions, and it really allows them to show growth as well over the course of a unit. So the Amplify Science Learning approach really allows for this instructional shift where students figure out, not just learn about science. It starts with introducing that real world problem, and still students can collect evidence from these multiple sources that you see. This all blends into a scaffolded learning process to develop a deeper, complex explanation of science concepts and phenomenon. Scaffolded learning is so important, and we call this a progress build. And I also like to call it an access point for all learners. We're going to have a low entry point for all students at our progress build level 1. In this case, observable properties result from molecular properties. So whatever the stuff that makes up something is what causes it to behave the way it does. Students are going to do hands-on activities, work through our simulations, and they're going to have a critical juncture assessment at the end of this progress build in chapter 1, and they're going to move up to progress build level 2. Mixing is a result of attraction between molecules of different substances. So now we're going to go a little bit deeper and look at how those properties can be combined in a mixture. And then by level 3, separation is a result of attraction between molecules of the same substance. So we're going to look at attraction, and then separation for their final project where they're trying to create a salad dressing that doesn't really separate and have those sediments at the bottom. The way that students acquire knowledge is a research-based foundation called Do, Talk, Read, Write, Visualize. It's proven very successful. So do means hands-on. Hands-on components you're going to pull out of the kit, and students are going to do those investigations. Then we're going to want them to talk. Now, kids love to talk, but we want them to talk science. So we provide over 8 different discourse routines, think, pair, share, word circles, sentence frames, to get them talking science. Then they're going to read. They're going to read with a purpose out of our text to get that secondhand information. And then they're going to write their findings in a notebook to show everything that they've learned, as well as collect their data. And then they're going to visualize with multimedia and interactive modeling tools that really bring everything home in a deep and meaningful way. In addition, at the end of a unit, we have this amazing performance task. So let's say our students explore this anchoring phenomenon, working for the food company, and they investigate a particularly hazardous dye. Then they're going to take what they learned and apply it, which is the highest level of thinking, to an application phenomena, a performance task, where they're going to create a good tasting and visually appealing salad dressing that doesn't separate into different layers. So with Amplify, as you can see, students really figure out, not just learn about, these particular concepts and phenomena. Now, my favorite part, getting into a 3-step prep. 1, you're going to visit the lesson brief. 2, you get the materials out of the kit. 3, you download the classroom slides either as a PowerPoint or upload them in a Google slide, and you are ready to go. I'm now going to jump over into the digital platform to show you how this would work with a lesson. So here I am in my digital teacher account. I'm going to go into Modeling Matter Unit by clicking on that. And let's go into Chapter 1. Then I'm going to explore Lesson 1.2. All lessons have what's called a lesson brief. So this lesson has 3 activities. Some might have up to 5 activities. And you can see here we're preparing to investigate with a teacher-led discussion. There's going to be a hands-on experiment with food mixtures. And then we're going to debrief with a student-to-student discussion. Now, all the layout of all the lessons have this similar resources. You have your overview and materials and prep. So if I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting my 3-step prep ready, I come to my materials and preparation and I see, okay, these are my chapter questions, key things, and things I have to pull out of my kit in order to do these hands-on investigations. I also want to explore differentiation. Now, we have a differentiation brief for every lesson because every lesson has unique demands on our students. And these briefs start with support for diverse learners, any potential challenges that might come up in this lesson, specific strategies for English learners, and some of these are great for all sorts of learners. I'm going to scroll even further down past those resources, including students who need more support in general, and then also those students who need more challenge, honor students. So we do provide resources from the lowest to the highest with a differentiation brief for every lesson. So now I've read over my brief, I've got my materials out. Last step of my 3-step process is to go right over here to the right to the classroom slides, either in Google or PowerPoint, download those. That is my clickable lesson plan with all the needed information to teach the lesson from front to end. It is fully editable as well, so I'm ready to go. Amplify Science just doesn't stop just with students. We also want to engage our caregivers at home. So we have a dedicated caregiver website and support line. Here's the tiny URL for that. What I love about this, it also provides where to go for help for our caregivers at home. There's a separate email and phone number for them to get support, so you can direct them right there if they need. Also, I love these questions for at-home discussion. How many times do I ask my son, what did you learn in science today? He comes back and I don't know. But here I can pull up that actual unit and pull some questions in and have specific dialogue with my child at home and really figure out what they're learning and have them express that to me as well. So we really want to embed everybody in this learning process. And that includes teachers. Professional development is so important. So how do we get teachers prepared for a successful implementation? Well, ideally we'd be in in-person workshops. If we can't because of the pandemic, then we have a great professional learning team that has been delivering remote trainings wonderfully. We also customize our training based upon the resources that your school sites need. We can customize our professional development by grade band, grade level. We can do assessments, you name it. We have a full portfolio to make sure you are successful in teaching Amplify Science. And so finally, that's why we want you to choose us. We are a phenomena-based, real-world approach using 21st century tools and resources to really unlock the mysteries of science in a way that makes sense for our youngest learners. We're designed for standards. You don't have to be an expert. Our experts from the Lawrence Hall of Science has created this program to make it easy for you with those easy teaching, planning, and assessment tools, my 3-step prep, as I call it. And then finally, reading and literacy support is so important. So we've integrated that into the program, as you will see. And also, we have many schools that have only changed their science program to Amplify Science. And not only did their science scores go up, but their reading and writing scores did as well. And that can happen for you as well at your district and your schools. So thanks again for taking the time to watch this video, and have a good day.